hang on. And then you say, make your case, tell us how much you're worth, and then somebody smiles, and then they pretend to say that they're upset with one or two of the nominees, and then they, it's a waste of people's time, and then these people come back. Somebody said something yesterday, and I had to give it a thought, that today, with the cabinet secretaries that you have in place, you could actually play chess and move them around, and you would not see anything significant in terms of a change. No difference. You could actually move Dennis to where Benji is, and move Benji to where Alenga is, and move Alenga to where I am, and we can just
there's no difference whatsoever.
And there would be no difference. Exactly. That is a very scary thing. Because the assumption is that as you appoint people, you are appointing people with a certain element of know-how
and passion
to then execute. That's why it's called an executive. You get things done.
Correct.
You execute.
Correct.
But if that is not happening in line with the government's policy, in line with its foreign policy, in line with its economic agenda, in line with the political agenda which you told people that you are going to do, if that's not happening, then we have a problem. But who sets the tone for how things are going to be done?
It's the president.
And who does the buck stop with? This is my question. Who does the buck stop with?
President.
Because when you talk about education, for example, somebody has been appointed to run education in this country.
By who?
That's my who appointed them?
By
who looked at all of these people and said,
exactly.
You know what? The person who is going to be able to fix this thing, those things you're talking about, to bring children out who have not gone to school,
yes.
to make sure education officers are doing their job, to ensure that the Treasury has made sure they've given us money to send these children to school, to ensure that books are...
The buck stops.
Who looked at Alenga and said, you are the one who's going to be able to do that? Who did that?
Ruto.
So who should we ask?
Ruto.
If something is going wrong.
I think we may not really confront the problem so well if we looked at it from that direction. And this is my alternative view. What does the Constitution say about who should become a cabinet secretary? It says it should be a non-politician. It says that it should be a technocrat in that particular area. So when the president floats this list of politicians, non-technocrats.
Let's be blunt.
Yes, it's not important to mention names, but we have all the data. If the president takes to parliament this list that is full of politicians, non-technocrats,
parliament should say, we
had once the parliament say, this one we shall not vet him because he does not meet this very basic qualification as per the Constitution. So your list is blocked at this point.
Okay, I hear you, and let me pull the thread just a little bit, Alenga, if you don't mind.
Yes.
So let's move from let's take it away from this and give it an example. So today, you should then have an individual who is apolitical, who is a technocrat, and who has institutional know-how about how to run a particular sector.
Mining.
And that's the person. Okay, mining. That's the person that you give this. That if you have something like energy ministry, that you want somebody who can tell you that we have 5 different kinds of crude in the world.
Correct.
And you want somebody who can tell you that we should be pushing and championing conversations with the African continent about how we should all be using the same kind of crude, the way Thailand, China, and India do.
Correct.
Because as China, India, and Thailand, with huge populations, when you go to the people who are selling the fuel, you know what? You buy it at cheaper than you do from the rest of the world. Why? Because you people have an agreement. Those are the kind of conversations that your energy ministry should be having.
Correct.
So if you appoint somebody,
when they are asked, they say it's good oil,
who has no idea, these are the questions that Parliament should be asking and saying, excuse me, as far as we are concerned, this person does not know.
Absolutely. And that is that's my argument. Parliament in this country is like the HR. The CEO employs someone with a KCP certificate and he wants the person to be the ICT manager. What does HR do with this application? The HR should be able to advise the CEO that, well, you wanted this guy to be the head of ICT, but the basic qualifications, he does not even have a degree in ICT. Will the CEO still bring more lists of incompetent people? But because we have a place where we know we will sail through here, And I don't think at any point the president calls all the 390-something MPs and tells them, I am bringing this incompetent person, please pass them. The president just say, let's try our luck.
They use the majority leader.
Yeah, let's try our luck. And clearly, and if you have demonstrated time and again that you don't care, that you don't look at the documentation, that you don't interrogate, then it will be easier for the appointing authority to just keep sending guys to you, because somehow you will have mercy upon them. So we have to have a parliament that stands and defends their affairs, first of all.
Benji, members of parliament you talk about today, majority of them come from political
But
parties.
sorry if I seem a bit angry. I'm just...
It's all good.
Anger's
It's all
just
good.
a bit worked up,
Anger is
yeah.
good. So we have members of parliament who come from different political parties. And for example, we talk about the majority in the House today, right?
Yes.
And you look at that, and more often than not, we see it is a directive that has come from the president telling them to go do exactly what he wants. So at that point, when we see failures in parliament, especially when it comes to legislation or even vetting of those who would get into various offices, who do we blame? The buck, we know where it stops.
I mean, look at, for instance, Speaker Wetangula. Don't even go to MPs who are junior people. Look at Speaker Wetangula, who is a senior lawyer in this country, who's a former senator himself, who's a former cabinet secretary. Speaker Wetangula is a former foreign affairs minister. Just imagine, under President Kibaki. And just look at his comportment. Look at his composure or lack thereof. Look at his alignment. And that's damning. If the speaker can be that way, who are you as a new MP, basically with nothing, with your first mortgage, to be independent, to be objective, to be logical, to be smart, to be constitutional? So this is how, the problem is the Kanuism mentality and the indiscipline. Because what Alenga describes is basically a mannerless parliament. A parliament that has no agenda for Mwananchi, that does not put Mwananchi first. A parliament that is not hardworking. A parliament that is not serious. A parliament that does not do vetting. And we're in the information age. You don't have to take my word for it. Just go to Dushawala News or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC and go look at the vetting process in Washington. And actually, I challenge you that if you saw the vetting that happens in Washington, you will be afraid to go to public service. And that's why, if you remember, even Trump in his first term, he never fully filled the White House. The White House was mostly, if you check the data and the White House under Trump was mostly half empty. He never filled all the slots because there were so many issues with vetting. The vetting is serious. The vetting is objective. There's no envelopes and all this type of stuff. And a lot of the guys that argue with what I'm saying will say, oh, but you see, you cannot compare Kenya with the US. Oh, you see, the US is 250 years old. We are only 60 years old. The issue of corruption, people talk about corruption in passive terms. Let me tell the future MP here. Because I brought my constitution. Dennis, look at one of my favorite articles. And this is what I'm coming to, because he talked about what the constitution demands or how it defines the presidency, etc. As far as him picking appointees and whatnot. Article 226(5, Ndu. This is the constitution, not me. If the holder of a public office, including a political office, directs or approves the use of public funds contrary to law or instructions, the person is liable for any loss arising from that use and shall make good the loss, whether the person remains the holder of the office or not. Just imagine, that's a constitution. That is, and I know that article because I worked for the Auditor General. This is a constitution on accountability in a country where we cannot build classrooms, but Kindiki is spending 80 million shillings on a chopper in a day. That is investigated, reported. That's not me saying.
80 million? Where is he going? Come on, Benji.
No.
80 million shillings on a chopper, where is he going?
Honestly, insane amounts, in frivolous manners, on by-elections, on all manner of things. And the point actually I'm coming to, Dennis, is, as per the Constitution, if there is continuous violation of the Constitution, my question to you, Ndu, is the government even legitimate? I'd like to challenge you guys on that. If the government is continually, consecutively, conspicuously violating the Constitution of Kenya. Sometimes people don't even know the president